And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. I was sitting here watching C-SPAN on YouTube, and these people in the fucking Congress, man, they piss me off so much. This shit is so hard to sit here and listen to as they talk about, there's an insurrection and a riot. This is what people do when they're lying. They project. They project to someone else to use that as a distraction and to discredit someone else, or more or less take the credit off of them or what they're doing. When they're saying insurrection, that's why they keep throwing that word around, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're projecting. There's a reason why they keep saying that. When they're talking about we had riots storming the Capitol building, they're projecting, because that is the same rhetoric and message that they used over the past summer and stuff like that, when it was Black Lives Matter and Antifa protesting and stuff like that. That's what these people are doing. That's what these people are doing. But before I even go into that, because that's still ongoing, kind of quick recap of some things that happened yesterday. Obviously, the House is voting to impeach. They're going forward with the impeachment of Trump today. And even if it passes, the Senate can't even vote on it until I think 1 p.m. Next week on the 20th. Like, are you fucking serious? He'll no longer be president, right? He'll no longer be president. Isn't that how it goes? I mean, just saying. Why do it? Just so you make an example out of him? Maybe so you want to stop him from ever running for office ever again. But that's not democracy. If people choose to vote their representatives, then people get to choose to vote their representatives. It's funny, too, because it was like Trump stole the election, or he tried to steal the election. Think about it. If Trump was trying to steal the election, he's the sitting president of the United States. He has all the tools and resources. Talked about Space Force, talked about quantum computers. He has all these resources. He can easily do it, and no one will even fucking notice it. And we wouldn't even be able to figure it out. But he didn't. If he wanted to incite a riot, and if he wanted to have an insurrection on the Capitol building, also, once again, he can do it. He has resources. So if they're so afraid of him, they don't know what he's going to do in these next several days. You telling me based on what? What are you afraid of? Because he'd been the sitting president before he is. He had the power and access to all the resources and top secret classified information, all this other stuff. Yet he didn't use any of these resources. So once again, what are you so afraid of that he's going to do something crazy in these next 7 days? Or, like I said, they're projecting because they don't know what they're going to do in these next 7 days. Real question is, hey, where the fuck is Nancy, man? Nancy's laptop gets stolen? Quote unquote stolen. Next thing you know, we don't see Nancy no more. She did a little show on CNN, not CNN, 60 Minutes and stuff. I mean, we assume that's her. You know, these people have body doubles. And I'm not even talking about actual clones. We're talking about body doubles. And you think all this still sounds crazy? Clones, body doubles, all these different things. Never forget, 95, 96, they cloned the sheep. A few years later, they cloned a primate. They cloned a monkey. And you know they can clone a monkey, they can clone a human being. Why do you think they started to try to clone mammals? Just testing it out until they can clone humans. Whatever. That's a whole nother episode, right? So Trump went and spoke at the border wall. Pay attention to body language. Calm, cool. I don't even think they even bothered playing it. I was watching Tori Says show, and then she was doing a live stream from Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube. And he just talked about the election again. He talked about he denounces the violence or what and anything like that took place, and he really saying those that went into the building and trashed the place, trash, because that's what happened. If you want to call that insurrection, you want to call it a riot, go ahead. I mean, you're completely inaccurate. That's a complete false statement, widely false statement, because a riot and insurrection without any weapons, what the fuck is that, man? Let me go storm the Capitol with no fucking weapons to protect myself against the people in uniform with actual legit weapons. But don't worry, they let the door in. I mean, they open the doors and let everybody in anyway. So, because white privilege. Remember, never forget, they let them in because they're white people. That's why they were allowed to let in, because they were white supremacists. They had Confederate flags and white supremacist symbolism, or what the fuck, man? I can't. The whole white supremacist thing, this is the funniest shit to me, because there's always a villain. There's always a villain. Yet the villain that they portray is worse than villains that you see in movies. The true villain that you see, just like Thanos in Avengers, in the Infinity Wars and Endgames and stuff like that, and even the Avengers comics, what made Thanos such a good villain is because if you saw from his perspective, he's not really a villain. Get it? Because only his means to his ends was more or less inhumane or immoral. He was willing to kill half the population of the whole universe in order to create balance. So his intentions are good, which is why he was able to hold Thor's hammer. And so his intentions are good. That's your villain, because a real villain is not really a villain when you look at it. And they're trying to vilify Trump. And that's the whole thing. They're trying to vilify him because he's not a villain. And he doesn't even match up as a villain. But they're trying to. They're trying to make him polarizing. And it's an effort. And that probably went over some people's head, but I probably explained it bad too. So, whatever. But you kind of get the concept that I'm going at. Your real villains, the ones that you're used to seeing that you want to think are vile and evil, will not show their face. Will not be, will constantly try to act like they're sanctimonious, that they're higher than thou type of mindset. That's your true villain. In the sense of, I guess, want to say your traditional villain that you see in a movie or something like that. You get, oh man, I probably shouldn't use the same word as villain, because I'm saying Thanos is a good villain because he's not really a villain. But at the same time, these people in Congress are your traditional villains in the sense that you think they're a villain. But it also does make a good point, because really his perspective, not even perspective, it's manipulation of perspective. Like, they want us to think this person is bad. They want us to think war on terror. Terror is bad. Oh, Saddam Hussein, bad. Gaddafi in Libya, bad. Assad in Syria, bad. Like, everybody's always bad. Yet the villain we ain't paying attention to is China. Why are we not paying attention to them? But I digress. Going off somewhere else. But as far as Trump being at the border wall, he was just talking. As far as talking about taking down MS-13 gang, which is funny because out of nowhere, MS-13 gang is not like bad. People, I remember watching documentaries on Netflix for the longest back in like the early 2010. I mean, late 2000s, the early 2000 decades. That's a weird way to say it, right? But I remember them saying like, he's MS-13, one of the worst dangerous gangs ever. All of a sudden, people were like, oh, well, MS-13 isn't really that bad, and they've been destroyed and stuff. No, they haven't. He's talking about how all the people they arrested and stuff. He's talking about the whole catch and release, that they catch them and then release them, but they release them into the country. So if you catch and release them into the country, even though they came into the country illegally, then that means, oh, you didn't do shit. They just still came in. Instead of get you on the mindset of colonization and slavery and stuff like that, so you feel bad. So you're like, yeah, people should come into this country. Everybody should come in. But guess what? If you let everybody into your country, you don't no longer have a country. You have open borders. You don't have a country. All countries are based upon borders. Because how you know where your land begins and ends? But it's usually based on rivers or some type of natural border and stuff. And if you don't have a natural border, you create one. China put up a wall. Why do you think they put up a fucking wall? They was keeping somebody out. And that shit's in the fucking mountains. And yet they still was keeping somebody or something out. Yet they want you to think it's insane or you're a bad person because, oh, you support a wall. Well, no, it's not about me supporting a wall. Like, you have a country. You always had a wall. There's always been some type of border, where there's a fence or a huge steel wall, wherever the case may be. You put something up. And if you have the rest of the world going to globalization, how are you going to stop the globalization from infiltrating into your own country? Well, you probably need to put up borders. You probably need to make it secure. So as opposed to everybody worrying about immigration and stuff, you really should be thinking, who is trying to come into the country that we need to keep out? Is it just the MS-13 gang members that are being used by political pawns in this country and the government? Or is it other subversive tactics? You letting people come into the country to infiltrate, to move into these different groups and these different movements, like, I don't know, Black Lives Matter movement, Antifa movement. Hell, your QAnon movement. You don't think that's been infiltrated? Everything is infiltrated, either always by the other side. If anything, for information, knowledge is power. The more information you have, the more you know how your enemy operates, or the other side operates, whatever the case you want to call it. But as he's at the border wall, he's just saying things, protect the border and stuff like that. But it's his mannerism, it's how he's talking. I believe he said something like, this whole, once again, to continue this impeachment witch hunt, and he was saying that them trying to invoke the 25th Amendment and them trying to impeach him will be one of the worst things for this country, and that it will come back to hunt Biden and the Biden administration. Because once again, Biden committed a crime. It's a coup attempt, and anybody that sides along with Biden and the Biden administration, or perceived Biden administration, is involvement in a coup attempt. Once again, they're projecting. They're projecting. That's why they're saying Trump is doing a coup. A coup of what? He's already the president. He's doing an insurrection. An insurrection of what? The Capitol building. He's already the president. If anything, why would he not just bow out and then go run again in 2024? Oh no, that's why we're impeaching, to make sure he never runs again. But that's not your decision. That's the American people decision. The arrogance of the people in government and Congress is bullshit. Like, they're literally standing up there pretending to speak for the American people. Meanwhile, they completely ignore the American people. These are the same people that voted to give American citizens $600. Meanwhile, they're giving Pakistani money to Saudi Arabia, money to Sudan, money across the world. Meanwhile, American citizens get $600. And some people still haven't gotten their money, myself in particular. Some people I know close to me, they haven't gotten their money yet. Interesting, right? But don't worry, because they're not concerned about the American people. They got to get rid of Trump because he's a villain. He's a villain. We got to get rid of him. That's kind of what I was bringing up earlier, the villain. Like, who is really the villain? What is really a villain? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about a really good villain, as far as like a Thanos, who's not really a villain, who's trying to do the right thing, has good intentions, maybe goes about it in a way that you don't agree with, but you can kind of understand where he's coming from? Or are we talking about a villain who does a lot of vile things, and they're not going to show you the vile things that they do? They're going to be sanctimonious. They're going to preach that their moral superiority over everybody. You don't have to tell me that you're more moral superior to me, that you have such a high moral character and high moral standards. You don't have to tell anyone that. You just go about your fucking day. Because if you have such high moral standards, guess what you also have? Humility. And then you can get on Trump for being a narcissist and saying, oh, look what I did. But at the same time, is he not justified? Because clearly the media won't tell the world what he does. So if no one's going to champion for you, if no one's going to tell, your truth, your facts that you are doing, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to say, fuck it. Don't worry. I'll speak up for myself. Does that not make sense? Does any of this make sense? Put yourself in other people's perspective. Put yourself in these people's perspective in Congress. Why are they trying so hard to do all this? None of this makes sense for the country. None of this makes sense to stop COVID or get people out of masks, get people out of lockdowns, restrictions. None of this has anything to do with that. Why is their main focus on getting rid of Trump? Oh, because he's so dangerous to the country. How does one person so dangerous to the country? Oh, because he's a dictator. He's a tyrant. He is? Because I don't think I've seen him flex any type of power that presidents of the past have flexed since I've been alive. He wanted the country back open, yet what did he do? He let states decide what they're going to do because that's exactly what he's supposed to do as president. He resides over D.C. and any federal laws, but he doesn't reside over state laws. But don't worry, because he's a tyrant. When they say these things, they're invoking emotion, but they're not really coming at you with logic because they know as long as they scare you and give you a villain, you will be afraid, thus you will not think clearly. It's simple psychology. That's all it is. One thing I wanted to touch on, I don't think most people, it might have went over people's heads. I know I mentioned before earlier this week about the drop in Bitcoin price. And I seen it this morning. It was from I think it was Cointelegraph. Oh, even fucking worse. I was way wrong. It was CoinDesk. Seen the article, follow him on Twitter. The article headline is European Central Bank's Christine Lagarde, which she is the president, says speculative Bitcoin needs global regulation. And there was a speech that she did with Reuters online in an event that they had this morning. She said that Bitcoin is highly speculative. European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde says Bitcoin has facilitated, quote unquote, funny business and needs to be regulated at the international level. So something like this should, I don't know, affect the price of Bitcoin, right? Because when news like this came about, as far as in regards to XRP in December, all of a sudden the price started going down. Right? And it wasn't about XRP. It was XRP. Now I shouldn't know if it's a security or not. And here, the president of the European Central Bank, similar to our Federal Reserve Bank in America, fake institutions. So that's interesting that she'll say that, yet I didn't see no real drop in price in Bitcoin. I think it's still around 34,000. I'm on CoinMarketCap right now. And yeah, it's at $34,590.82. Interesting, right? She also said there has to be regulation. This has to be applied and agreed upon at a global level because if there is an escape, that escape will be used. The European Union Central Bank chief added there will be a digital euro, hopefully in no more than 5 years. That's every time they say something like that, hopefully, they always like to project out far years in advance. So when they know that it is only going to take them a few months to do it, they can come out and be like, oh, look at us. Look how fast we got this done. It was a great job, and that's what you all do. That's something that government does. That's something that corporatocracy, banks and stuff like that do. Like, talk up what they're doing. Oh, let me project a huge, or project a low number. We might only give out this number or get this return investment this quarter, and then like, oh, look what we did. We preceded our own expectations. We did such a great job. You knew exactly what your expectations was. You just didn't want to tell everybody. No more than 5 years. You serious? The technology to develop a digital euro has been here for more than 5 years. Yet you're going to tell the people that it's going to take no more than 5 years. Meanwhile, China has the digital yuan that they prop up at ATM and stuff around their country. Because people just sit and say shit, man. It's all political theater. It's all theater. They get up there, they have their press conference, they tell you things, stuff. You think we know they're not going to tell us the whole truth, and you expect that. Because you have competitors, you have corporate espionage. But as I was watching the live stream this morning, my first thought was, this is insane. That these people are getting up here and flat out fucking lying to the American people, to the people around the world. To sit here and say that Trump incited a riot is the biggest lie I've heard in like a long time. Like, actually, it's about big as a lie. They're saying that there was no fraud in this election, that this was the most secure election. These are like the biggest lies ever. And when this goes down in history books, you will see this shit. This is the biggest lie ever. To sit here and say he incited a riot. I sat there and listened to him talk from afternoon, 12 o'clock to 1 p.m. And then I switched over to another stream to listen to them do the certification of electoral college. I'll listen to Mike Pence talk. It's funny because as that was going on, Trump was still talking. Like, I literally left that stream and went to the other stream. He was still talking. The majority of the time, he talked about the election. He even said that the media has probably already cut off by now. They're probably not even no longer watching. They already probably done cut me off. He said, go peacefully protest. Let your voice be heard, but be peaceful about it. Show them this is how we really are. This is how Americans are and stuff. We don't incite riot. We don't have violence and stuff like that. Also, something to be noted that, hey, some of these cops keep dying. It's funny because all of a sudden one person died. One gunshot. Not gunshots. One gunshot. Bam. Shot. The video's on my Twitter if they didn't take it down yet. And then you have another officer died later, but don't worry, that was complication due to health reasons, supposedly. And then now we're up to like 4 more people dying. So I think it's a total of 6 people have died. And it's like, damn, wait a minute, where the fuck did all these people start? People just start dying left and right. And it's like, where's the video at? Because I'm watching majority of these live streams and stuff like that the day of the so-called quote unquote insurrection. Insurrection. You want to know what an insurrection is? Look at the military industrial complex, what it has done over the past 2 decades. Look at Persian Gulf War. Look at the war on terror after 9/11, going to Iraq, going to Afghanistan. You want to talk about insurrection? Pay attention to that shit. Those are your insurrections. You invaded a whole nother country, man. You went there and tore down a statue. And then you faked the video to make it seem like a whole bunch of people were watching and celebrating the tear down of the statue, but video is surfaced and you pan out, check out one of the Shadowgate documentaries and they'll show you it wasn't that many people there when they took down the statue of Saddam in Iraq. Of Saddam. I'm laughing, man, because it's either laugh or continue to be extremely pissed off about everything. As like I said, as I'm watching live stream of C-SPAN and what's going on, like, how can I not? Like, I just have to sit there and laugh because it's so fucked up. It's such bullshit. I think, Christopher Stanton. He died. He was from Georgia. He was accused Capitol rioter. Apparently, he was 53 years old. Accused Capitol rioter was found dead in his home. I'm reading an article from heavy.com. According to 11 Alive, which I don't even know what that is, probably some local news station or something like that. He said he died by suicide of a gunshot wound to the chest. He died in his Georgia home, the television station reported, and 2 rifles were recovered there. His death was listed as being under investigation. Death listed as being under investigation. So if his death is listed as being under investigation, should you actually call it a suicide if it's still under investigation? Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm probably going to cover a video on it, so definitely check out my channel later. But I just kind of want to throw that in there for this episode of the podcast. And it ties in, it's in correlation to what we're talking about today. oh my God, I just can't get over this stuff, man. Just sit here and watch people just commit these blatant lies in front of my eyes and stuff. I don't like liars. I don't like liars because when people lie, they tend to continue to lie over and over and over. And sometimes a small lie, sometimes a huge lie. Because when you lie, then you let you know that you're selfish. You care more about self-preservation. You worry more about what will happen to you, as opposed to being accountable and having some responsibility for your actions or accountability for your actions as well. Speaking of liars, it makes me think of I seen something too from Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York who killed people by putting them into nursing homes, the one place they shouldn't have been going to, overstocking or overfilling the nursing homes and stuff. He talks shit about Florida, meanwhile his COVID deaths are spiking and stuff like that, but whatever. That's just an opinion. I don't know. That's not factual, right? I'm just saying shit. But he tweeted out yesterday, actually on the 11th, he said, "We simply cannot stay closed until the vaccine hits critical mass. The cost is too high. We will have nothing left to open. We must reopen the economy, but we must do it smartly and safely." These people in government, governors, politicians, all over the board, corrupt, man. You looking at it right in full time. It might be like 1% or less than 1% of all politicians, lawyers, judges, and all that stuff who are not corrupt. And we want to talk about a police force. There's probably more uncorrupted police officers than there are government officials. Also deflecting. Also projecting. You have governors over political officials over the summer and stuff like that, talking about Black Lives Matter. We need to defund the police, stuff like that. They're projecting. They're trying to say the police officers are corrupt because they're projecting because they are corrupt. That's what liars do. That's what liars do. And I know what you're thinking as well, that, oh, well, Trump is calling them this and that, that he's projecting too. He's lying. Trump did not say anything that I didn't already know. Oh, you surprised by that? Trump has not said anything I didn't already know. The corruption, been knew about that. I told you, I've been looking into this stuff since 2007. Not paying taxes, been knew about that. You ain't supposed to pay taxes. The reason why he has a following is because people are already keen and aware of the shit that's going on and stuff. He's not saying nothing new. Other than the fact that he didn't realize it was this fucking bad of corruption until he got in there. When you realize that 89% of your government is corrupt. And it doesn't have to be of the highest magnitude. It's just simple little things like this. Like voting to impeach the president, knowing damn well there's no grounds to impeach the president. Knowing damn well it's a fucking waste of time. Knowing damn well you should be more concerned about the American citizens and how to move forward with the country. If Biden is the president, damn, I hope y'all didn't hear that shit. There's a motorcycle. I got the back door open. But if Biden is the president, move forward with Biden. If you care so much about Biden and you really believe in him, move forward with Biden and Kamala Harris, which is still a senator, I believe. I don't even think she gave up her Senate seat yet. But she won the election, right? Might want to look into that. That seems kind of interesting. I just seen that floating around the internet and on things like Telegram, stuff like that. Just seen that floating around. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But for Andrew Cuomo to say that is the most hypocritical shit. I mean, well, shit. It seems like there's a tie for the most hypocritical things in this past year. How can you say that? And it's almost like he took a quote from Trump anyway. It's like, didn't I hear Trump and other politicians? I think I heard I think it was Rand Paul and Ron Paul say this shit. Like, we simply cannot stay closed until the vaccine is critical mass. The cost is too high. We will have nothing left to open. Well, no shit. Coming from the guy who kept the school closed forever. Coming from the guy who shut things down forever. Coming from the guy, he's freaking out because guess what? People left his fucking state. Him in California. Exodus. You wanna know why? Because it was like, fuck this shit, man. I'm not gonna stay here no more. You're not gonna keep me locked up forever. Of course he has a mask on his profile picture on Twitter. Oh, let me put my mask on for the picture. These people are lying, man. These people are lying. It's funny how everybody forgets the video that quick because, of course, it didn't surface around. Mainstream media wasn't going to play. Politicians sitting with masks on and stuff, and they're caught with a hot mic, and they're saying, oh, we got to put our mask on, a little political theater. Yeah. And in Congress right now, in the state capitol, in the Capitol building in the country. The House Speaker, or the acting House Speaker, because where the fuck is Nancy? This guy is saying, hey, make sure you have your mask on the floor. Bro, there's like fucking 20 of y'all in there. Y'all spaced the fuck out. You talking about wearing a mask? Everybody's talking. As they get on the microphone, they talking. They got a fucking mask on. You telling me this one person can't take their mask off so it can be heard clearly? As they butcher the quotes of Trump, saying that he incited a riot. Even one lady talking about Trump incited a riot with these words, as I paraphrase. If he incited a riot with these words, you need to deliver a direct quote, not taken out of context. We're searching for words that he even suggested of anything. Telling people to stand up and have strength. That's not inciting a riot. That's an emotional thing. Actually, it's a spiritual thing. To stand up in times like this when the whole country is demoralized, when you got friends and family members probably looking at you crazy and stuff like that because you're like, hey, something's going on here that doesn't make sense. You're getting socially ostracized from your community, wherever the case that be, people at school or people at work, they're coming down on you and stuff because you sitting here looking like, hey, something is not right. Well, don't worry. Trump is out of office, so it'll all be good. It'll all be good because the president could go in and destroy everything in 4 years? Nah. The destruction in what you've seen has been happening long before him. The fact that he was able to go in there and flip things around is only because that's how fucked up shit was. Because no one was doing their job. Their actual job. Meaning putting America first. That's it. Make America great again. Obviously, that's a motivational speech, as a tool, as a catchphrase or whatever he's trying to garner up pride in the country, because if you're prideful in your country and you're prideful in American ideas of liberty and freedom, then you remember that. It's a psychological thing. Yes. That's why I said sometimes I don't like him, because I know what he's doing. He's trying to break free the people and get you to have pride in your country, because if you have pride in your country and what the things it stand for, then you'll understand, or you'll break free of the psychological manipulation and brainwashing that's been going on for generations through the liberal media, through the Democrats, whatever you want to call them. They're just communists. They're just statists. They're socialists. They're whatever. They're for the government. They're for control. Government control. How many times you've been sitting at home with your friends and family and you're like, oh man, well the government, we can't do this because the government will stop us. Think about that. We can't do this because the government will stop us. There's times where I had to catch myself as I talk to my kids. And I'm like, wait a minute. I shouldn't, that doesn't make sense. The government ain't nobody but people. People like you and me. They're regular fucking people. Hell, actually, you could say they're even less qualified than me and you, because they don't even fucking live and do the regular things that majority of the country does. Yet they want to sit here and preach on what the American people need and what the American people want. You don't have to preach on what the American people need and what the American people want. All you gotta do is shut the fuck up and listen. The real American people, the American people that are not sitting here being brainwashed. And when you talk about brainwashing, it's not over a couple years. It's over years. It comes from birth. It's passed on through generations. This has been going on a long, long time. And it's been growing and growing and growing. And what you're starting to feel and what you're starting to sense is a climax. Nothing like, or just like a movie. Exactly like a movie. You're coming up on the climax. The clashes of opposing oppositions. Two different sides. Your duality, because, of correspondence, everything, dualistic reality. Things only make sense when you correspond. Are you related to something else? So as you see with Andrew Cuomo's, or as you hear me talk about Andrew Cuomo's tweet, why is he doing this now? Why didn't he do this a couple months ago? Why didn't he do this after the election? Right? Because they're showing their arrogance where, oh, well, we got it. We got back in control of the country. We're going to have our government and stuff like that. And they're going to slowly wind it down a little bit, but don't worry. Something else will happen. If these people get their way, if the timeline goes in their direction, then they'll have this. They'll have exactly what they want, and that's complete control. And then you line that up with whatever they're doing in this country, and kind of goes into what's going on with globalization as far as the UN Agenda 2030. They're all lining towards that. You seen Andrew Yang talking about shit. I can't think of the words now. Oh, universal basic income. I ain't gonna lie. Last year when I heard him say that, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I wasn't thinking of the mindset of socialism or anything like that. I was thinking more of like, well, hell, you guys want to keep going along this game with printing up fake money, then yeah, you print up enough fake money, get that shit to everybody. I mean, it's horrible for the economy, but yeah, whatever. You want to continue to play this fake game, go ahead. But I also got played. Because it sounds nice. And see, I was more on the aspect of technology and more concerned about my investments in cryptocurrency and stuff like that. Because I know if you do universal basic income, you got to use one of these cryptocurrency to get that out every month in a fast, secure, and efficient way. That's how they get you, man. Get you to worry about money, get you to worry about things like that. When if you want a sound financial economy, guess what? You need a sound financial monetary system. You probably can't just be out here printing money out the ass. I don't think it works that way. You might want to go back to a gold standard. I don't know. Reference, I can't remember what episode it is, but check my back catalog. My episodes, my podcast, I talked about the new Bretton Woods Agreement, the IMF, saying that they want to go back to a gold standard. In essence, I mean, the Bretton Woods Agreement is that. So with Andrew Cuomo and his tweet, like I was mentioning, these people are getting comfortable. They're getting in there. They're showing their arrogance, and they're letting you know, like, oh yeah, now's the time. And he's letting you know, now I think it's the time to stop it. Also, to let you know that yeah, we use COVID-19 as a way to discredit Trump, as a way to push down the numbers in the economy to make him look like a bad president. We use that. We had everyone be on lockdown, and we made a villain for you to hate in order to praise us. Simple psychology. It's not rocket science, man. Sometimes they're playing it smart, but I don't even want to know. I don't even know if I want to give them credit for saying smart and brilliant, because I mean it's just the same plans over and over that every government, that every institution that has tried to take over and control the people has done throughout human history, at least modern human history, going back to times ancient Mesopotamia, Sumerian, Babylonian. You might want to check out the Bible, the Old Testament. You might want to look up Sodom and Gomorrah. Might help understand a little few things going on. I'm just saying. I have my kids read the Bible. I don't know how far they got into it. I don't think they got into a few stories stuff. But it was more or less, I wanted to know that, hey, these stories, whether or not, I don't believe they're actually factual to the T, but they'll let you know there's an understanding of human history. They'll let you know what's going on if you pay attention to them and stuff. Yeah, as they read and talk about certain things or whatever, as they look into it, I kind of help break it down as well too for them. But the whole mindset is to get them to think. Critical thinking. That skill that we lack. But don't be surprised when you start seeing more governors, more people saying, hey, you know what, we need to really stop this and stuff, because as you get close to the inauguration, and I wouldn't be surprised come next week on the 20th, you see the inauguration for President Biden. President Biden. That don't even sound right. Actually, damn, that's not true at all. That shit don't even sound right. But don't be surprised to see inauguration from Biden. You know, the man that rarely comes out, and when he does, he comes out, he speaks, and that's it. And Kamala Harris is standing there too. These two fucking clowns. You really want these two clowns in front of the country? You really want these two clowns making decisions? Like, we know they're puppets. But do you even want to sit there and look at their face as they make decisions and give you speeches and stuff? Get the fuck out of here. Fuck no. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump has an inauguration as well. Then it comes down to the government. What you really got to pay attention to these next, this encompassing 6-7 days this week, from here until the 20th, next Wednesday. What you really got to pay attention to is what is actually taking place in government. What is actually going on? Because some people they could put on a show and everything. And I just seen something about Forbes put up an article about that as well. They're going to literally have a show for the inauguration. So check out my channel later. I'll be posting a video of that as well. But think about it. They're going to put on a show because they want a spectacle. Because if you see it, if they get enough people to see it, then you will think, oh, that's an inauguration. That's what's going on. But it doesn't make it legal. Understand that. Understand the laws. Look into legal fiction. Look into the fact, like I said, I haven't even gotten into the real stuff yet. The real fucked up shit in the world, in this country. I haven't even touched on that yet. There's so much content. There's so many episodes and things I can make about the deception and expose the true factual things that's going on in the world and human history. I haven't even touched on it yet. Like I said, legal. Understand what legalese is. Understand there's a difference between man and person. The natural living man and the person. A corporation is a person in legal eyes. But the man, the natural man, the natural real human being is different in the terms of legal. When you're speaking legalese, lawyers know this. Understand what legal fiction is. You think the deception is just about taxes? It goes deeper than that. What the fuck is a birth certificate? What the fuck is a wedding license? How do you have to get a license to get married? Why is that a legal contract when that's just supposed to be a union, a spiritual union amongst you and your spouse? This deception goes so deep, this shit will fuck your head up. Why do you think I am where I am? It's not because of what Trump has said. It's because of what I already fucking knew and what I was reading into when I was reading into laws and constitution and finding out these different things and seeing that, hey, these people out here just fucking lying. Check your mail. Check your mail. When you get stuff in the mail, separate it by this one simple thing, your fucking name. When you spell your name, it's a capital letter. I spell my name Damian Jackson, capital D, A-M-I-E-N, is all lowercase. Jackson, capital J, A-C-K-S-O-N, is all lowercase because that's how you write English, right? Correct? That's how you write English. That's how you're taught to write English. So what the fuck is your name in all capital letters for then? When you get a bill and it's a legal contract and we're talking about legal things, your name is in all capital letters. When it's some advertisement, when Papa John's want you to send you a fucking discount, coupon or something like that, your name is not in all capital letters. It's just the way you regularly spell your name. Why? Because it's not a legal contract. It's not offering a legal contract. Your bill, dealing with money, legal contract, your name is in all capital letters. Your driver's license, legal contract, name in all capital letters. What the fuck is a driver's license? Why do you need a driver's license? Is it against the law to drive? Driver's license is for commercial use, commerce. What is commerce? When you get in your car, is that for commercial use? Is that for commerce? Or do you get in your car and drive? Is that for personal use? How is it even legal or illegal to get on the road and drive a vehicle? Why is that? Is the roads not open to everybody? I can get a bike and ride. No one says anything. You don't need a license to get on a fucking bicycle, do you? And then some roads have bike lanes. I know the road I'm looking at now out of my back window has a bike lane. But there's no license to ride a bicycle, right? But if you want to drive a vehicle, you got to have a license. Interesting. And don't say, oh, we need a license because it's dangerous. You got to make sure people can drive. That's bullshit. Because if that's what the case, then I don't know, there'll probably be a recertification or a test every few years. You get a license when you're 16 and you're good for the rest of your life. It's not about security. It's not about safety. It's about lining people's pockets. It's about your city, your county making extra money for no fucking reason. That's it. It goes deeper. So the things that Trump talks about, when the people that say they support Trump or whatever you want to call them, Q or QAnons or whatever the fucking thing you want to say, conspiracy theorists, it's about people that were already looking into the fucked up shit that goes on in the world. It was about people that were curious enough and bold enough to keep asking questions because they knew something wasn't right. Something wasn't adding up. And they decided not to keep their head in the fucking sand and look up and open their eyes and see all the fucked up shit and realize, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Why every time I turn around, I gotta do this? I gotta apply for a license. I gotta have a fishing license. I can't just go fish. Oh, well, we gotta keep in preservation of the fish because we don't want everybody to eat up all the fish and stuff. Are you serious? Are you serious? Because everyone's gonna go out there and eat up all the fish? Because that's what people are gonna do. Because so you need a fishing license. I know what it sounds like. And that's the whole point. Is to make it sound like, oh, well, you need it for these reasons. You gotta have these things for these reasons. But those reasons are manifested. They create these false reasons because it sounds good. But when you actually sit and think about it, how does that actually play out? Because if a business, if a corporation, if a company wants to go into the water and stuff and fish out things, what, they gotta have a business license to do that? But you as a regular person, if you want to go feed yourself for the day or feed your family, you gotta have a fishing license? Think of the people that live in Montana. I believe there's a fishing license in Montana. Yeah, certain areas though, you gotta go get a license to throw a rod and wire into the water to get a fish because you're hungry. If there's a fishing license, say they shut down, say there's a food shortage and you want to go feed your family. You can't go feed your family because you need a license first before you go fish. And then, fishing license everywhere and stuff, but just throwing it out there. It's just these things. It's these things that what I'm saying is they're using Trump as a villain, but they're using him as a distraction, and they're pissed off because they don't want him to expose the real truth. The real truth, which is you're all being lied to. We're all being lied to. We're all being played. We're all being brainwashed. That's it. And they're not even worried about that part. They're really worried about themselves and their own crimes that they've been involved in human trafficking. How do you think human trafficking happens in this country? How do you think guns get into this country? Corruption. These motherfuckers can spy on people from space. They're tapping all the communications and every fucking thing. I upload a video to YouTube. It takes a while because they're sitting there scrubbing all the audio. They're going through the code, going through the text. Yeah, I upload a video to a library. It happens in like a few minutes. That's it. There's no option for lower quality. It just uploads in the quality in which I recorded the video. Yet on YouTube, they slowly they slowly scrub it. Oh yeah, the upload process taking a while, and then it's based on the size file and stuff like that. And then the next thing you know, oh yeah, we got the standard definition, and it'll take a few more minutes for the high definition. You're Google. YouTube was bought by Google. Google was rebought by the people who started Google a decade ago. Google is owned by Alphabet Inc. No one even talks about that. You probably didn't even know Google is owned by Alphabet Inc. Because the people that bought Google, or the people that started Google, came back years later and rebought Google under Alphabet Inc. And Google bought YouTube. They're sitting there just buying up everything. But that's how capitalism works. Maybe because if you probably dig deeper, there's always some government influence behind it too, pushing for it, not allowing it to happen, but just pushing for it, pushing towards it, favoring them with government contracts. When Amazon gets a government contract over Microsoft, guess what? Amazon is favoring government is favoring Amazon. There you go. Now, if you don't pay close attention, you'll have state and privatization going in the same direction and working together. That's why when Michelle Obama said these big tech companies need to have more censorship and they should stop Donald Trump and from exciting riots, guess what happens? They all roll over because they're involved with each other, they're in bed with each other. What is going on here? We need to really pay attention. I'll probably have to break down and really think about what is a better situation, a better system to have, or maybe just really have a true free market, free capital, free market system or whatever. But obviously one of the things we need to have is smaller government. Because why does the government need access to Amazon? Why do they need to use Amazon Web Services? Why is the government so big? The government gets bigger and bigger. They need more resources when they shouldn't. The government needs to be smaller and smaller. Hell, you can even reduce the size of the military because you're stretching your resources by being all over the fucking world. You bring everybody back home. Why do you think Trump wants to bring everybody back home? If you don't even think he's doing it for good intentions, if anything, think of it from a financial standpoint. If he's a businessman, it financially makes sense. You don't have your finances, your resources being expelled and put all over the world. You limit or you have more control of your resources. You bring and keep more money into your infrastructure, and you can better pay your military members and have better buildings and infrastructure. Because some bases in this country ain't shit. Some bases ain't shit. Some Air Force bases are nice. Some Air Force bases are not nice. Some military, Army, Marine bases are not really up to standards as far as quality of life. Quality of life, shit. I'll tell you something. Back in McDill over in Tampa Bay, there was a building that was there was mold going on in the building for like decades. Then they finally decided after enough reports and stuff like that, oh, we need to get out of this building. But y'all been fucking do this shit, man. I came to this building when I was a fucking kid in my teens with my father. Like, you now just want to get rid of this building? Like, what do you think? This building's been around for a long time. It's been bad. Because they always try to find the lowest contract to do things because they want to save the most amount of money. Why is that? Why does the military want to find the lowest contractor? They want to save the most amount of money. Why are they not worried about quality and getting the best value for their budget? Instead of, what's the least amount of thing we can get? Times when I worked at a fitness center, like, you got, when you want to buy something for the fitness center or whatever, you got, or buy something in a resource for official use. As far as in the military, Air Force specifically, I'm going to speak on Air Force because that's what I know. You got to offer 3 different manufacturers or 3 different providers. So say I want some new equipment in the fitness center. To have new equipment in the fitness center, say I'm trying to look at these different weight sets. So I got to put up 3 different companies or 3 different manufacturers, wherever that are selling these things. They're going to go with the lowest one. Wherever costs the lowest amount. And if it looks decent enough, that's good. But as long as it doesn't cost the government that much money. Which is fun because the government has tons of fucking money when it comes to the military. But where does that go? Nobody asks these questions. I think the DOD was finally audited maybe a year or two ago, something like that, and they were off by like $1 trillion, or they were off by $1 billion. They were off by a lot of fucking money. Well, I think the Federal Reserve is never audited. They're just out here making up numbers. It doesn't matter, because they're printing money out the ass. And Trump sat here and printed up money too. Makes you wonder, why did he do it? If he knew the economy was fickle. Or maybe he was trying to take down the Federal Reserve. Maybe he was trying to bankrupt them. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But don't worry, you'll say that's conspiracy talk, or whatever the case may be. But it's fun because conspiracy only becomes factual 5-10 years later. If you gotta wait for hindsight to understand what the fuck is going on, it's already too late. It's already too late. Now, tomorrow's episode, I definitely want to kind of keep up a recap. I think right now I'm looking on C-SPAN on YouTube, their live stream. Their headline says, begin debate on impeachment of President Trump. If this rule passes, then 2 hours of debate on impeachment next. I don't even know why they even call it a debate. They're not debating anything. They're sitting here lying and making up shit. It says on agreeing to the resolution, they're voting right now. 159 yay from Democrats, 171 nay from Republicans, 62 no votes from Democrats, and 40 no votes from Republicans, to give it a total of 162 yay and 172 nay, and then 99 no votes. But that's just on agreeing to the resolution of whatever, probably as far as the procedural and stuff like that is going on. It's funny because they have masks on and they preach social distancing, yet as I'm sitting here watching right now, they're all standing next to each other talking. But don't worry, they got masks on, so they're good. Oh man, these people are a joke, man. It's such a clown show. It's such a fucking clown show. It's such a fucking clown show. These people are ridiculous. So yeah, tomorrow's episode, probably for the next week or so. I know some people probably don't like politics and stuff, but like I said before, this is not about politics. This is about the fucking world. All I am is, or really the country. This is the country, because this shit going on in the world that I haven't really touched on too much. I know I talked about the blackout in Pakistan and the blackout at the Vatican and shit like that, but you're seeing a media silence. It's funny, these things that I'm saying, you won't hear anything else about. Why is that? Why am I just a regular person and giving out more factual evidence about things that's going on in the world than mainstream media? Doesn't make sense, right? It's intentions. Who cares? Who doesn't care? And this comes from a guy that sometimes I give a shit, sometimes I don't give a shit. But like I said, this is where I live at. You're not about to fuck with where I live at. I don't like that shit. This is where I live at. You're not finna come fuck up where I live, man. I don't like the fucking shit they doing. I don't like the government. I don't like the government. I don't like the government. Don't fucking like the government. Never liked the government. Even as a kid, I never liked the government. Like, this shit just doesn't make sense to me. I know I have a problem. I don't like authority. I don't understand how someone can tell me to do something. No. The government is supposed to be a representation, a republic. You're supposed to represent the regular, everyday people that voted for you, the Democratic Republic, Democratic Constitutional Republic. The country is based on encompassing all the good ideas of government and throwing that shit all together and eliminating the past history. The reason why there's freedom of speech and the reason why there's a Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Because you got to be careful of foreign and domestic enemies. Because at the end of the day, there will always be a small part of the population that wants to have power and greed and control others. Majority of the population and human species just wants to be left the fuck alone. Everybody wants to go about their day, mind their own fucking business, interact with whoever they interact with, and be left the fuck alone. I don't care if you're gay. Nobody cares if you're homo, transgender, none of that shit. Whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. Doesn't fucking matter. If I'm a heterosexual and you don't agree with my heterosexual lifestyle, it doesn't fucking matter. because at the same time, I'm going to respect you as a human being. I'm not going to infringe on your own personal liberties. I'm not going to mess with those things. You want the right to get married? Guess what? Everyone has the right to get married because no one can tell you not to get married. Now, if you want to engage in legal contracts and shit, well, we shouldn't pay attention to the legal contracts of what's going on. As far as the government, we should be questioning, why the fuck is there a legal contract to begin with? Oh, for taxes. Oh, you mean the things that we're not supposed to be fucking paying anyways? See, man, you gotta keep digging and really get to the source of all these issues and strip away the emotions. If the only emotion you should have is frustration, and use that frustration to motivate you to attain more knowledge and information, but from a logical standpoint, and remain unbiased as much as possible. But yeah, tomorrow's episode and for the next week or so is going to be a continuation of what's going on in the world, because this shit is important. And like always, it's fucking hilarious. It's entertaining to see these clowns up here telling, oh, the American people want this and everybody want this. These fucking people, from so far, the majority of people that I listen to, whether Republican, Democrat, whether they're for the impeachment or against the impeachment, it doesn't matter. They all sound like complete jokes. They all sound like complete clowns. And when get up there and read off their little speech, you can't even fucking speak without a prepared speech. You can't get up there and give a logical speech. Like, just, you don't need to look down at a paper or anything, man. You're a career politician. This is what you do. If you can't speak from your own heart and mind. In fact, here's a more fucked up thing. You ain't have to speak from your heart and mind. You got to speak for your constituents, the people that voted for you. If you probably talk to them, I don't know. You might know what's going on. But don't worry. If you want to go talk to your congressman, I guess make a phone call. Go to their office maybe. But if you want to talk to them all at once as they're in the Capitol building, don't go up there and do that, because then you're storming inside and riot. And you're an insurrectionist and a domestic terrorist. You just throw those words around with no true meaning or weight. Welcome to America. Welcome to the government. Welcome to the greatest clown show on earth. See you guys tomorrow. So until next time, which I probably should change up, because until next time, why would I say until next time if I'm going to do this every day? I might as well switch up and say until tomorrow, right? I just thought of that right now on the fly. Like, I probably shouldn't say that. But I'm going to stick with it because it helps me. That's stupid, man. What are you talking about? It makes no sense. Doesn't matter. So until next time.